our veterans to make it possible for our freedom and take care of our nation. God and lead us today as we make decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Shelley, you want to go ahead and do a roll call for us?
Ma'am, please. Jody Fishingham. Denise Taylor.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard. Joe Bird.
Honey?
Julia Combs.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Present. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Hannah Glory Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener. Dick Lay. Curtis Snell. David Thornton. Victoria Vesquez.
Honey.
David Walkingston.
Honey?
Eric Allen Watts.
Honey. Okay.
No singing.
You have the copy of the minutes from August 18th and August 28th.
I make a motion that both be approved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the August meetings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we'll move on into our reports. Sean Slayton. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Council.
Hello.
Be reporting on July. On the financial side of it, we had a great month. August looks even better. And all the businesses are performing. We're working hard over at C&I. They made quite a bit of progress over last year. And I believe the Maven study that we did and the things that we've implemented there are finally starting to take hold. And we're looking for a good 2015 for them in terms of reducing the issues that they've had over there. The projects are moving along at a rapid pace. Coffeyville, working with the city there. They're going to provide us the electricity and the utilities. Be a win-win for them. I believe it helps the city with some of their issues if we go ahead and help them out with the electric. Down at Roland, if you've been by there lately, they've got steel standing up. They're just about complete with that on the casino side. Things are progressing rapidly there. We had a 7-inch rain up there 2 or 3 weeks ago that slowed down some of the site work. In the clinics, Redbird is nearing completion. Working up at, I believe the building is pretty much done exterior-wise, and working on the interior finishes up at Oshaleta. Had a hiccup or two on the parking lot there, and we're working to get back on track with that. Jay, I believe they're pouring the concrete floor today up there, or yesterday, and they're finally able to resolve those side issues. We were working with the city of Jay on some utilities there and thought we had an agreement, and I guess there's been some budget issues up there, and we're back to the drawing board with that, with us supplying it. I appreciate Harley and Curtis's efforts up there to try to help with that situation. And Mankiller is moving along. So all of those projects seem to be moving, and we're going to be proud of what's completed there. You heard the announcement about the outlet mall in the district at Hard Rock. Very excited about the potential that has, hoping the developer can come through on his part and deliver the retailers and make that a great project for the Cherokee Nation. And that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Councilor Fishingham.
Sean, it was a real nice event for C&I on our picnic.
On the picnic?
And I was going to tell you, it was the first time Chuck Garrett was there, and his wife was there, and it was the first time we had the board members there. We had Dan Carter and his wife, Becky. We had, who else? There was
Brett
another.
Taylor.
How could I forget? We had Brett Taylor and his wife, Janice. We had Frankie there. I was there. Joe Crittenden was there. And there's a lot of fun out there. Everybody seems to be enjoying themselves.
Yeah. Did you win the horseshoe tournament?
I did not play the horseshoe tournament.
Well, I watched them last year and decided they were out of my league too. So I'm glad to hear it went off okay, and I appreciate Chuck standing in for me.
And Chris done wonderful.
Do what?
Chris Moody done wonderful.
Well, good. I'm proud of Chris, and he's working hard up there.
Anything else for, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the CNI picnic, I don't recall getting any invitation or knowledge of it until after the fact, so can you make sure that that gets over to us?
Sure.
Thank you. If it did, I looked and I didn't find where I'd missed it.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that didn't happen, so.
I'll check. I thought they made a special effort to get all that out.
Because I know they're remote to some folks.
Sure.
So I don't want them not feel like they're appreciated.
All right.
It's every year around September the 16th.
So I think I still have the floor, so I'd like to ask some questions about the new developments that have been announced. Because after I've had a chance to think about it, I was trying to think through how they would or wouldn't conflict with each other. So could you remind me on the $170 million project, what kind of mall situation that would be as compared to the $80 million in Catoosa?
Well, they're two separate projects. I believe the one that you're talking about that will end up being close to $170 million as time goes on is the Cherokee Springs development, Cherokee Plaza, here next to Cherokee Springs Golf Course, and that will consist of a new casino, hotel, and event center. The front parcels will be laid out to where they will probably, my guess is there's going to be food offerings for some of the retail restaurants that are out there that have inquired about it, as well as other mixed-use retail-type developments. The development at Hard Rock on the Cherokee Outlets is an $80 million outlet mall that a developer is bringing to the project. It's his money, not ours. It's high-scale outlet mall, similar to the one in Chesterfield, Missouri, in which he's a partner with Simon. And then the connector to that is called the District. And we have not finalized the plans on exactly what that's going to look like. We're in process of doing that now, but it'll be a mixed use of restaurants and maybe a little bit of retail that doesn't conflict with what goes on out there. And beyond that, I hate to really get into the details of that particular thing just yet because we haven't finalized what we're wanting to do there.
Will we wait to break ground only after we know it's probably going to go forward and the commitments are made in terms of the retail for the developer?
I think, yes, I think those two are going to coincide.
Okay,
we're in the planning stage, he's in the planning stage, and he says it takes about a year for him to be able to know whether he can muster up all of the retail that he needs to go forward with that. You know, he's financing the project, so there'll be some covenants around that from the lenders that he has to get to a certain stage before they lend the money to start construction.
What the chief announced at the at-large meetings in Texas is that there would be Cherokee preference on the jobs.
It'd be just like...
So they would be under our laws, what I understood, the way it was presented.
Well, I wasn't at the Texas deal, but on the District, we own that property, and those will be our developments, and that will be the case. On the outlet, it'll be a situation similar to what we're working with Macy's. Career Services will provide.
So we're giving them that property? I thought we were leasing it to them.
We're not giving anybody the property. We're leasing the property.
Okay,
The
so
District is
retain
ours.
ownership.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you retain ownership, but the project is theirs. It's not ours. And so we will do with them just like we've done with Macy's. and work a partnership with Career Services.
Will they also be required to meet our minimum wage standards for Cherokee Nation?
We can't require that outside Cherokee Nation trust lands.
I'm just trying to clarify what I'm hearing versus what I thought I
Sure.
knew, so I want to make sure. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Oh, one last thing. So in the PAC meeting earlier, political committee meeting, political donations, would you remind me how Cherokee Nation businesses makes donations to politicians, what that process is?
We look at that process each time there's a request and follow it. I don't know specifically what it is. Our legal department takes care of
Is
that.
it the board approval, or is that through your office or through your position that you're able to approve those?
I'll have to look at the policy. I don't remember. We don't make enough to...
Okay, well, we
No.
asked for a list of what CMB had made donations to because the Inhofe Pigeon fundraisers come up, and apparently that was a CMB donation. So with the list of actual donations made, can we get the reminder on the process that that goes through?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
You will.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, Councilor Keenan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is about the, I don't know if it's called part-time or seasonal people. Do you know how many we have that are seasonal, approximately?
Are you talking about at the golf course?
Nationwide.
Well, it would vary, depending on which industry it is, but I can certainly get that information. I don't know the exact number.
And do you know if they are called seasonal?
Some are called seasonal.
Okay. And
That's because they only work during that particular season.
And what's the timing that you hire?
I'll get that for you. I don't know.
And they don't have any benefits?
I would think not.
And then I'm still a little bit unclear on the new project in Catoosa. And the district, that won't be in trust land, right? Or we're going to...
None of it will be on trust land, fee simple land on all of it, but the district is going to be our project versus the developer's project over there on the 35 acres to the west.
Okay. And then one more question. Will we have e-games in the mall, or will it all be confined to the district?
Our current plan is to put a slot emporium out in the Cherokee outlet.
Just kind of like a one section, or scattered around within? Or?
No, it'll be a slot emporium, kind of like one of the outside smoke shops that currently has that, but it'll be with the same motif and a little pep, if you will, there in the middle, or yet to be determined, but negotiated into the deal.
Okay, and then one more question. I thought one more. Will we go ahead and purchase more land before we finalize the plans? We're going to lose some golf course land. We're going to buy some.
We have already bought or entered into a contract. I think it closes tomorrow, to buy the 90 acres that we have been negotiating back and forth on for 10 years with a certain individual there, and we will relocate any holes that are displaced over to that, and that also gives us some maneuverability with the mall should we need that.
How much was the 90 acres?
90 acres was 3.6, I believe, or 3.7. Negotiated down from the original offer 4 or 5 years ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I believe Councilor Watts was asking about CNI invitations. I recall that was sent to me, and I thought I sent it out to everyone. But I'm not as techie as I used to be, or never. I don't know if I ever was. It seemed like I sent one thing out through Carla and maybe one thing through Gail, and then I tried to send one out. That may have been the one I tried to send out, so I apologize if you did not get that. We will try to do better.
Thank you.
But I believe it was sent to me, and I'm just trying to learn how to do these all email things. So and I was trying to look back, I think that's the one I tried to send out, so maybe you all didn't get it, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Slayton? Okay. I think you're off to vote, Sean.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay.
Counselor Taylor,
Oh.
I had my hand up.
Sean.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Julia. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Sean, I wondered if you could give me an approximate timeline for several things. As I understand it, the anticipated Margaritaville expansion for the creeks is around 2016 as an opening date. Is that, am I?
Yes, we've heard different dates. I think 2016 probably is the latest that we've heard.
And I understand that you don't have any reason to be able to give a firm date on that, so I'm just asking, what you've heard, and because that's what I've heard as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the Catoosa outlet, what is the projected opening date for those? I think something was said in the briefing that we received that is different from what I read in the press release, so I'm wanting clarification of that.
Well, like I was trying to tell Kara, that kind of all depends on the developer's progress in signing up the retailers and be able to hit his marks with his financiers. But he made the announcement at the press conference of 2016, and I think he may have said mid-2016. I don't know, but he has told us it's a year to 18 months to get the leases in place, get the financing in place, and then about a year to do the construction part of it. So that would put it anywhere from mid-16 to early 17. We just are counting on our end, hopefully somewhere in the mid to last quarter of 2016.
Okay. So a year to a year and a half, and then another year for that's 2.5 years, I think, and we're nearly at 2015 here. So I don't know, my calculations would bring it in a little bit later, closer to 2017 or maybe 2018 even, but we'll see, I guess. I understand nobody can really give a firmness about that until those leases for retail space are made. And then the development in Tahlequah, I think what I read or saw somewhere was that ground would be broken sometime next year or later this year, and that, or maybe groundbreaking isn't the correct term, because I suspect there's some engineering that has to go on to shore up that land even so that it's even viable for this kind of development. Anyway, that some kind of start would be made in 2014 or maybe early 2015, and it was anticipated to be about a 5-year project of development, I think was what I read, which would place it at maybe 2019 at the earliest. Would that be a viable speculation, or?
Well, we're currently having a request for information, or request for proposal out on the civil work now. We'll begin to do that and begin building the roads and the infrastructure in there. At the same time, we'll be entertaining offers from people that want to locate a business in there. We've already had several, and we're in the process of vetting that. So, and then at the same time, we'll begin developing the plans for the hotel, casino, event center. So there's going to be work starting in the near future on that, like you say, for the civil and the engineering and the road building and all of that, and then hopefully we can in the near future sell, or not sell, but lease some of those pads to somebody for some food offerings, and then from there, just keep adding to it.
Okay, so unlike the developer for the Catoosa property, we are not making certain that we have all of that space leased before going ahead with the project. We're going ahead and hoping for the best. Is that, I mean, I wish I could state it better, and I'm sorry. But
Yeah, well, I tend to think of it more in terms of a phase. Like phase 1 is getting the roads and the infrastructure in there, and maybe some restaurants or whatever in that phase. Phase 2 would be the event center and casino and hotel, and I'm sure we'll be building those as fast as we can, because that's money in our pockets. And then as that develops, we'll be entertaining leasing or lease options from other people that are interested in there. So I just think it'll take 2 or 3 or 4 years for all of that to get done. The phase 1 and 2 for sure.
Okay, so that does go back to my initial question, was 3 or 4 years, so 2019, somewhere around there might be, a reasonable date to look at as to when we would be up and running in some capacity and some future capacity.
No, I think you'll see that in 2014, 2015 with the restaurants and things like that. It'll take a year to 18 months to build the hotel and casino once we start construction. So, give us 6 to 8.
I guess I'm trying to get a sense, because I do wonder if we aren't going after the same market that the developer in Catoosa is going after in many respects, and I do have questions about how big that market actually is and whether Tahlequah can compete with a major urban area on some of these things. But those will be questions that will hang out in the air for quite a while, I imagine.
No, it's 2 completely different markets. They're almost 70 or 80 miles apart. The retailers that are going in the outlet mall are upscale, like Nordstrom, Nike, and all of those. What will be down here is your mid-tier, maybe a couple of anchor stores that we're hoping to get. But no, there'll be 2 separate markets for sure. No overlap at all on those.
Well, okay, we'll agree to disagree on that one, I guess, for the moment. Time will tell. The other thing I just wanted to say was that I've heard you refer to the Cherokee outlets and so forth. Is that seriously what this is going to be called?
Yes, that's the current name.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, since that one didn't turn out so well for us in the long run, we'll hope that this one does better. Thank you very much, Sean, for your time.
You're welcome.
Councilor?
Yes, one more, Sean. We talked about this at one time. I don't know what the architect's thinking is. We were looking at maybe having a multi-purpose building in one of those drawings. Is that correct?
Are you talking at Tahlequah? Yes, the event center will be a multi-purpose
Thank you very much.
type offering.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Go ahead.
And just to point out, this is not a replacement of an existing casino. I hear a lot of talk about, well, we're putting up a new casino. We're replacing another casino in the same town so that we can take that building as promised years ago for the immersion program.
that is correct.
We shouldn't lose sight of that. This is not a new casino that's in a new market. This is to replace an existing casino.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Slayton Smith? Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have the Treasurer's Office. Lacey is out today, so we have Jamie.
That's correct, ma'am. Thank you.
Reporting for her.
Good afternoon, councilors.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. I'll be reporting the treasurer's report today. Treasurer Horn is on personal leave today and tomorrow, out of the state for a wedding. I believe that you've been provided the written report. I would like to make 2 additions to that report. This week, Cherokee Nation was notified from the GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers Association, that we were again awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. That was for our fiscal year 2013 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. I would also just like to mention that Cherokee Nation is progressing with our fiscal year 2014 year-end closing. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Cowan-Watts, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. You should have been conveyed that in education, we had asked for a report on an understanding of what had happened with the Sequoia High School funds. And we were supposed to receive a report today from the treasurer.
Was not aware of a report, but I do believe that Dr. Morton is here today to respond to any questions that we may have for Sequoia.
Okay, so that's my question is, I wanted to step me through what did or did not happen, because the news reports that involved the Secretary of State's comments conflicted with what I understood we passed in terms of the budget mod for Sequoia last month.
Is Dr. Morton here? I thought he was here earlier. Okay. Speaker, would it be appropriate for him to go ahead and come and respond? Dr. Morton, would you go ahead and come up and see if you can clear this up for us?
Can you reiterate, Chairman? Can you reiterate what is discussed? Reiterate.
Okay, Councilor Cowan-Watts, would you go ahead and address your question to Dr. Morton?
So, Dr. Morton, during education, I'm confused because I apologize, I thought you were there, so we could have addressed this in education. And we were deferred to the treasurer's office and told it would be the treasurer reporting. But I would like to understand what we were paying for in the budget mod for Sequoia. I think originally we were told it was unfunded federal mandates, and then when the news article came out, the controversy around was Sequoia short 1.0, 1.7 million, I can't remember what they said, that it was referred to as past choices or action or lack of action by the former administration. So what is the situation? Why was the budget mod need? What were we paying for?
A little bit of all of the above. The reference to the treasurer's office, which was made during an education meeting, was a mistake. The treasurer doesn't initiate the mod. Education Services initiates the mod. So
Dr. Morton, is this the details we asked for concerning the budget?
This, I'll go through this with you and hopefully clear up some of it. It's all, there are several pages there, but they're keyed together. If you will indulge me to let me go through it page by page, it'd probably be easier. If you look at the first page, the problem with the Sequoia deficit for last year, or for fiscal 14, actually started 3 years ago. It actually started a little bit greater than that when we built a new gym. But if you look at school year 2011 and 2012, with the bar graph, one being green and the other one red, the red is the number of students. The green is our allocation for that year of about $384,000. Enrollment of 347 students. Now that year we had a significant carryover from the previous year, from 2010, 2011.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but can someone please send me the document? Thank you.
Jody Reese is on that, Counselor Coates.
And then if you look at the school year 2012 and 13, they're about level. Enrollment came up, the allocation from BIE came down. And then the year in question, 2013-14, where the budget really got in trouble, enrollment took another jump, and we took another cut from the federal government. Remember, this was a period of sequestration, and we are at the mercy of the federal budget. That's where our money comes from. Now, if you turn to the next page, page 2. Page 2, we have the ISEP education funding. This is ISEP stands for Indian School Equalization Program. What ISEP really says is that we're going to fund you at a rate that is equal to a public school rate. But it really isn't. But if you look at our award for school year 11 and 12, 3.9. Following year 3.6, following year 3.4. And if you'll notice from that previous page, we were gaining students during each of those years with less money. More students, less money. Then if you look at page 3, which is facilities, which is a different appropriation. We get appropriated for educational program, get appropriated for facilities. Look at the 11-12 school year, the blue graph, and compare that with the money we received for facilities last year. Skip all the way over to the right-hand column. Dropped from 1.109 to 926. Now, we usually think of Sequoia as being a relatively new school. We've got the new gym sitting up there for everyone to see. And they, my goodness, look at that. You look at the high school building, we consider that to be a new building. It isn't. It's right now, it's at the time where major maintenance kicks in. So we spend a great deal of money on what we normally consider our new school. Remember, some of the other buildings will go into the 1800s. We are using facilities at Sequoia that are older than any other school in our 14-gun area. They're hard to keep up. So a 3-year decline in funding for facilities during a period of increased cost for Operation School Plan. Think about it this way. We spend more on facilities, I mean for utilities for that new gym, than we do most of the rest of the campus. That thing is hard to cool, hard to heat. That's a lot of space. So we have the last page, which is the general summary. We just simply had more costs than we had student-based allocation to pay for. We did not cut the educational program. In fact, 2 years ago, we added to the curriculum. The last page that you have, page 4, shows the instruction, residential language, which would be the immersion school, gifted and talented special ed, showing the different amount of money that we received for each school year. School year 14 is pale green. You'll notice that all of them dropped. So like most schools in Oklahoma, we wound up in the hole. And we're trying to overcome that by doing a little switching of responsibility. Facilities, Cherokee Nation Facilities is managing the facilities of Sequoia now so that we can buy in larger lots and then separate out by budgets. We're saving some money there. Over the years, too, there's a sort of a strange fascination with GSA vehicles at Cherokee Nation. We had Jennifer, 19 at Sequoia? 29. See, I was off by 10 there. 29 GSA vehicles at Sequoia. We won't find another 3A school with that many vehicles running around. They're being transferred out, except for the buses, of course. Everywhere that we can see that we can cut costs, we are cutting costs. My office and Sequoia office and representatives of finance meet every Thursday morning and go over budget. Sequoia as an operation has traditionally been viewed as a little bit separate from the nation because it is BIA, when in fact it really isn't BIA. It is a grant funded to us by the BIA through BIE. So it's a grant program. And we're trying to change the philosophy of that and realize that it is an integral part of Sequoia, budget-wise, operation-wise. And by doing so, we will be able to make enough savings to really impact the fiscal 15 budget. The fiscal 15 budget, we have received our allocation, and for your information, it is right at $5.7 million. You can compare that with our allocation on these pages, and you can find that we will have other allocations that will be added to that for special projects. So the picture for this year looks good. Best case scenario, we will be able to regain some of the areas where we had some deficits this year. Our goal this year is to at least break even. I don't anticipate that there will be carryover at the end of this year, but at least to break even. So as a combination of factors leading over several years, one other thing that, see, the Bureau requires the tribe to give up space if new space is built. Well, when the new gym was built, we had to give up some space. Now, negotiations were made, and we didn't have to give up square footage for square footage, which is the rule. We gave up what we now call the old gym, which, now when I say we gave it up, that means BIE does not provide funds to maintain, repair, or replace if it blows away. In other words, it's our expense, because they base the square footage on the number of students that each school has. And if we could build all over the hill up there if we wanted to, but number one, it won't be ours. And number two, we'll have to maintain it. And number three, we'll have to tear down old buildings because we have some that would be prohibitive to fix.
Dr. Morton?
Oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead.
So you alluded to the gym earlier, so it wasn't, it is on the space cost changes where we've lost money. And that was one of the older decisions of the previous administration that was alluded to in the article then. And that's what that was, about the loss of money, the money differential.
Because of the expense of operating space costs?
Yes, and that's what was being, I guess, discussed in the article.
That's a principal cause, yes.
Okay, and so there's nothing else that you can think of, and this is great. I really appreciate the details. This is extremely helpful. So, and then it's that cost difference on space because of the change in the new gym. Okay.
Now we do
it sounded
have,
like a mystery after I read the article, and I was like, where is,
And I apologize to you for not getting you more detailed information like this at the initial, because lots of operations, within the nation get sort of spread out of the area of the real problem or the real issue through social media. Social media is wonderful, but sometimes it's kind of like writing on bathroom walls. You don't really get the right message.
I'm referring to the Talkville Daily Press on this one. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilor Wilson-Stick.
Dr. Moore, what's the salaries and fringes for Sequoia on a yearly basis?
I'm sorry.
What are the
take my hearing?
Yeah. What are the salaries and fringes on a yearly basis up there at Sequoia?
We're 5% above the state scale.
What's the total number in the millions?
I don't have that number with me.
I think it's about 3.2 million. It's 3 million, 3.2 million, somewhere in that ballpark. Now, how much money do we get from the BIE?
In other words, do we get enough money from BIE that's allocated for instructional staff to pay for the instructional staff?
Correct.
No.
Yeah. So the tribe, we're having to dump in a lot of discretionary monies just to stay afloat up there to serve all our kids because all the budget cuts going on with.
In other words, if we operated the instructional program with just the instructional money received from the BIE, we'd be back to C-spot rate.
It shows here in FY 14-13. It says we received $3.4 million.
Which page?
On the Sequoia School and the ISEP funding.
Okay.
So we got $3.4 million that we got from BIE, but we're spending $3.2 in salaries and fringe.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. The major cost, of course, is salaries and fringe, and you add that.
And that's not even services for students. That's just salaries and fringe. That's not.
When you add the utility bills.
Then you got utility bills
on top of that, especially the new gym.
Yeah, yeah, heating and cooling that big space. Well, just to go back to some of the comments that was in the newspaper, it said papers and pencils are being rationed out over at Sequoia. Is what's going on? I mean, is there?
Repeat that for me, please.
It says paper and pencils are being rationed out. paper and pencils are being rationed out up there, like there's a shortage.
There's nothing to that.
And then,
here's what we did do on, with every kid getting a laptop, for every one of the new kids, we did not have enough right at the beginning of the school year until we got some back in and repaired.
So we're not talking about pencils and paper.
Okay,
we're talking about maybe some Mac computers that's not being distributed.
But let's face it, we are continuing to supply students with everything they need.
Okay.
And we'll continue to do so.
Well, I tell you,
some of the information that's out would make you think that we're back to the slate and chalk. But
when I was over at Sequoia football game, people was asking me about budget, the shortfall at Sequoia, and I said, what are you guys talking about, And so then I started hearing about it. Then I was like, okay, we got a fabrication of a crisis going on. Someone's trying to fabricate a crisis. And I'm having to tell a lot of these constituents out there that we're not $1.2 million in the hole. And
we have, if I didn't mention it in the past, we have a review team from BIE coming in October 9th, I believe it is, to look at the facilities. Hopefully we will get some money from that for repairs. And they're making a review of all of the Oklahoma Bureau of Indian Affairs former schools. We're positively optimistic that when they see our problem in facilities that some changes may occur there.
But then another statement was about Sequoia 15 years ago, or after 15 years, Sequoia was a crown jewel. It had new facilities, new buildings, and you just stated we had buildings over there from 1800s, and a lot of them have been neglected over the last 10, 15 years that I've seen.
Yeah. And then we have to remember the high school building is right at the stage now that it'll be time to replace the central units for heating and cooling, and we'll be into major expense with it.
Yeah. But I think the message of that whole article, it was a perception that that things were going downhill, and what the reality is that we're trying to push things forward and make them better because things have been neglected over the last 15 years. And it's not only at Sequoia, but it's all our facilities. Yeah. I mean, it's Hastings, it's Cherokee Nation, it's our council house. I mean, we're sitting in the council, and you gotta have an umbrella or something when it's raining. It's leaking that bad. We had trash cans sitting all over the place. Look like coffee filters or something. But
one good way to judge schools is by student assessment. I have a granddaughter that's a student at Sequoia. She's transferred to Sequoia from another school in the area, and she is like she's gone to the Tulsa Fair every day. She loves it. So, and she loves her teachers. She loves the quality of instruction. And of course, Nancy Albreg little. She's a good student.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm not going to talk about this anymore, but again, I appreciate you addressing all these comments.
And again, that was a mistake last week of referring to finance. We remember, we're the ones that filed the request for budget.
Sure. Thank you, Chair.
Councilperson Haas?
Dr. Morton, I hate that we spent all this time on this. I feel like we have took a non-issue and tried to make it into an issue. I too read in the newspaper what was written or tried to be written about. I think you all doing a good job over there. You're talking about the dorms and different places, different air conditioning units and stuff needing to be replaced. Had we not spent so much money on the gym, and I wasn't on the council at that time, but I know had we not spent 20 years in advance on capital expenditures, we would have that money to be able to better the facilities. And now we're having to scrimp and save to make the facilities better.
Right.
I think it was a very selfish and a very short-sighted thing to do to our students. And I hate that for them. But I know with you at the helm of things, you will find a way to do so. I think it's a political season, but I also think it's a shame that some people are using this. I hate it. I'm glad you sat up here and explained it. I don't believe everything I read on social media. I don't read everything I read. I don't believe everything I read in the paper. And people around here need to learn to look at the source. And you need to, if you look at the source, you know, it might give you a better idea of maybe you need to look a little more into it. And I appreciate you explaining this today.
I appreciate those remarks. I certainly do. And I appreciate all of you. Let's face it, you have a tremendous task, because I just get some of that once in a while and you get it every day. But we are doing a good job in education. We really are. And because we are, there's might even be a certain amount of jealousy. I better quit on that one, unless you have other answers.
Thanks, Speaker Jordan. You had something?
There is a difference between us and the Oklahoma public school system. We have education leadership, we have a chief, and we have a legislative body that's willing to take gen fund dollars and supplement your budget wherever there's a loss in federal funds. And we're encouraging you to increase the student population, increase the curriculum. All these things are good. We want, one of our high priorities of this body is education. And we are at a good point where we can put those dollars in to supplement those dwindling federal funds.
And it brings results, it shows, because you approved a Promise Scholar program for those kids whose mothers and fathers, they're the first generation to go to college. Right now, our dropout rate with those students is less than the general population of our scholarship students. Simply because you're giving kids a chance that would never have gone to school.
And one thing that we need to understand, and people on social media need to understand, that anytime you attack Sequoia School, the students and the teachers take that personally.
And they should.
And they're working so hard to be the best school in this area. And anytime we see them attacked, we need to respond. It's a good school, it's a good program, everyone is backing it, unlike what you see in Oklahoma from their superintendent, state superintendent. It appears that the whole idea there is to kill the public school system.
That's right.
And our idea here is to make our school the best that it can be. And I can tell you from having grandkids in a dependent or in a 8th grade on down school, those schools, those kids want to get into Sequoia.
Well,
that's all they talk about in the 11 schools that we have in Cherokee County that are 8th grade on down. Those kids can hardly wait to apply to go to Sequoia School.
That's right.
They're excited about it.
Another issue, some of the places where you're putting money in through MVT funds for little programs, to us they seem like little programs, reading, trying to make that third grade reading scale. Give you a good example. Bellefonte School in Sequoia County, in the AF grading system, which we all know is not right. But when you make a good grade, it's okay. When you make a good grade, you kind of like it a little better. Bellefonte has an A+ this year. The Bell site of Bellefonte has a B. Because you put little programs in those schools in reading. So some of the larger schools that chose not to participate in some of the programs have Fs in grade school. So that makes a difference. Makes a difference.
I want to commend you and your staff. You're doing a very good job.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.
Councilor Fulbright.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Morton, I just want to tell you what a great job education is doing under your leadership. You explained all this today, and we're making great strides. But I especially want to thank your group for coming down yesterday to Sequoia County. My niece is the counselor at ICTC, and she kind of organized all the counselors in the county, and all of the high school counselors were there, plus some from Muskogee County, and she said that your group did a wonderful job explaining everything. We had people there from Cherokee Nation Foundation scholarships also. And under your leadership, we have improved these scholarships so much, and getting them out early, and these contacts that we're making are making sure that our students know about it. Mm-hmm. And one of the greatest things I think you initiated was to let the students know way in advance they were going to receive their Cherokee scholarships so that we could be there to present them at the awards assembly in the spring and let them know way ahead of time. And that kind of spreads throughout the school system. And the next year you have even more wanting to do it. And I just think under your leadership, you've just done a great job.
Thank you.
You're number one with me, Dr. Martin.
Are you through, Councilor? Councilor Keener?
Thank you. On the Cherokee language program, the Treasurer's Department didn't have anything to do with that, right? Cherokee language at NSU.
We would have presented the budget in the comprehensive budget, I would have thought, but that'd been the extent.
You would have presented that in the comprehensive budget. Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, I believe it was included.
Yeah. So is there, since we're going to help Sequoia, do we help the Cherokee language program out too? And I don't know, maybe Dr. Martin.
The Cherokee Nation program?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Language program.
The Cherokee Nation language program will continue to operate, but it will continue to operate under Northeastern's budget instead of our budget.
So there'll be 5, I think you said 5 students.
We will have 5 students that we will teach here, that we will immerse in immersion.
And they're part of that program, so correct? That's where the money's going to go to them?
Part of the saving of the money that formerly went to Northeastern will go to support them.
And what about the rest of the students?
The rest of the students at Northeastern, those who choose to go to Northeastern and take the bachelor's degree in Cherokee through the College of Liberal Arts, we will still fund those students at the same rate that we're funding them now. It's just that that program did not provide the number of teachers nor the type of teachers that we needed in the immersion program.
Would it be possible to see a report like this on that program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be glad to.
Okay, thank you.
We will, by the way, be putting out applications for 5 students who speak Cherokee to some degree that we're going to immerse in the immersion program. They're going to stay in the immersion program 15 hours per week, and then our translation personnel will teach their Cherokee classes, and then they will be exposed to Cherokee language for 4 years, all day for 4 years. And
Can you send that report to the whole council?
so under that program, we're confident that we will be able to provide the teachers, because if you'll notice that one place that we didn't do so well is under the State Department's A through F program. Our immersion school scored F. Well, duh. It's naturally going to score F because the test is in English and we're teaching Cherokee. So we're going to do some work on that program so that we can get around that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Speaker Jordan, did you have?
Yes, it just should be noted that in the new fiscal year budget, this body provided the language program an extra $150,000 that we had not done in the past, and that was through Councilman Thornton's request. So there is $150,000 extra money that's never been there before to fund our language. So I hate for anyone to think that we're not funding our language, because we're giving them more dollars now than we have ever given them in the past.
You're more focused on language for this coming year than there has been in any year in the past. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just a comment. Dr. Morton, you know, when things aren't working for the Cherokee people, in past history, we've always changed to a different method.
I'm sorry.
We've always changed to a different method. If one method of teaching is not working, then we just change to something else. That's why we're survivors as Cherokee people. In this format that we were using in the language, obviously was not working.
Right.
With the lack of certified teachers that we have today. And I am so glad that you're looking at a different way of providing, maybe different way of teaching to provide more certified teachers.
But you know, the unique thing about, if there is something unique about this new approach, the person delivering the program and making the decisions about the program will be first language speakers of the program. You won't find that anywhere else in the world. So,
well, by you just changing the way that we're running Sequoia, even facilities here, we're going to save about $180,000 just by the way you're changing it. And if we might have built maybe better dorms or new dorms for Sequoia, instead of building a new gym or library, more something technology up there, might have been different today. We're just going to have to play catch up, and we're going to support that school. When you talk to the faculty, tell them we're going to support that school wholeheartedly financially.
if we had looked at the total educational program instead of what was done. I started to say we there, but I didn't have part of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Thank you, Dr. Moore. Thank you.
Councilor Coates, did you have anything to add to this? Anything you wanted to say?
I think the streaming's not working.
She does. Thank you, Dr. Moore. Okay, are there any other questions of the Treasurer's Office? If not, thank you for coming, Jamie. Okay, now Diane. Been dying to come up.
Dying to come up.
I promise you I'm not. I do want to report, Dixie Weathers was emailing me back and forth. They are in South Coffeyville today, and they're up there on their last leg of 4 days of job fairs. And at noon, they had over 100, and at 3 o'clock, they had 152. Wow. So they had an overwhelming turnout. And I want to thank you, Councilwoman Vasquez and Councilman Lay, for helping get those flyers out. I want to thank my staff that was up there, as well as Vivian Phillips and Bob Thomas and their team, because they've been out there with them every day. They've been on the road. And this was a very good turnout, and they think they've got some really good candidates. I want to also thank Bill Davis, because he was very instrumental in getting emails back and forth to us, and that community up there went out and helped spread the word, so I'm sure that helped a lot. Yesterday, I was in Oklahoma City, and I had been asked by Elaine Carr, who is the mayor of West Salem Springs, to come up and speak to their mayor's conference that they have in Oklahoma City. She wanted me to come up and talk about partnering. The mayor of Shawnee is spearheading a meeting to bring tribal leaders and some of the mayors together, because they see tribes as viable partners for developing economic development. And Elaine said, well, I can tell you that we do it very well in Cherokee Nation. And so there were 75 mayors up there yesterday morning for the breakfast, and got an opportunity to share with them some of the things that we do here in Northeast Oklahoma. As a result of it, there's like 4 or 5 of these mayors that want to come and visit and see some of the things that we're doing over here. I took the partnership brochure and talked to them about the partnership that we're doing with the business enterprises, what we're doing with our roads, our houses, all of the great things that's going on here in Cherokee Nation. And of course, I told him, I said, if you look at the 5 tribes, the 5 tribes can demonstrate all of these partnerships that they're doing with all of the state and the businesses in the area. Some of the smaller tribes don't have a lot of the things that we do. And so it was very well received, and they were just real excited about the things that Cherokee Nation is doing. Tuesday, we also met with the staff at Classen, our Job Corps office. We're in the process of moving. We have been at the Classen office for a while. It's not a real safe environment. We're going to move to a better environment off the interstate, and we'll have new offices going in over there sometime in November. So, Jack, I know you came over when we opened up that office up there, and the staff are real excited. I don't have an address yet because we don't have a lease, and I don't want to tell you because that lease thing may not go through. So we are looking for another site. We are having ribbon cutting open house at our prior office on Tuesday for our new career services office. We've had an overwhelming turnout from the community, the chamber, and all the different businesses and organizations. Mid-America Industrial Park. We've already got our first contact made there in the industrial park. Ted Allison, who is the deputy director for the Mid-America Industrial Park, asked us to visit with one of the plastic companies because they're looking at expanding, and they're wanting us to assist them with that expansion. So there's some good things coming as a result of us being there. On Monday, October the 6th, it's a big day for us. That's the first day of day training, and our JD NEG grant, we're going to roll it out that day. So our offices should be very busy. We've got our Tulsa office. Christy's providing statistics on that. They're getting flyers out to all the different locations. The news releases that went out were good. They're getting a lot of phone calls. People are coming in asking about Macy's. They're assisting them with the Macy's applications, and we've got people requesting the JD NEG grant. And we have a billboard that will go up real soon, and we're still waiting on our signage for those offices. So we just got a lot of stuff going on. John wanted me to report that the firefighters, he's got 30 firefighters, 26 of them are in California fighting that big fire, and there's a possibility the other 6 may go out real soon. David Cummingdeer, I'm sorry, he's working over there in that area. He went out with the crews the last time, and he's doing a really good job. And through John's leadership and working with him, they're doing a really good job. In fact, some of the firefighters came up to me at the Cherokee holiday and said thank you for all the support that they were getting from the council, support from administration, and they feel like that it's moving in the right direction. We did 2 proclamations this past month. One was on Manufacturing Day, which is October the 3rd. All of our major businesses, Sean, Chris Moody, and some of our partners at Workforce and the VOTEC were here for the proclamation signing. And I believe Chris told me that he was going to do something over at CNI during that day for his employees. So Manufacturing Day is coming up, and we were celebrating it. And also Job Corps did a proclamation on their anniversary. We've got some meetings scheduled coming up with Macy's, and Darrell Legg is in Sallisaw today. We are moving out of our current location, moving over to the Sequoia Bank Building, and we hope to do a ribbon cutting open house in Sequoia County for that building October 15th. We're just trying to get out of the building that we're in because the guy that we're leasing from has got somebody he's wanting to move in October 1, and he called me and said, "Are you sure you're going to be out?" And I said, "We're going to make an all-out effort to get out." So we're excited about it. So we got lots of things going on. Questions?
Frankie Hart.
On the CNI, the Manufacturing Day, did you have a date for that?
It's October the 3rd. It's next Friday.
Okay.
Councilor King?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the new office locations in Tulsa and then Pryor?
Yes.
And that will serve Cherokee and non-Cherokee, is that right?
Well, yes and no. If people are coming in for the JD-NEG grant, that is open to anybody, veterans preference first. But they will have to be unemployed for 27 weeks or better. Now, we did get a conference call today, and our project officer is checking into that because there is something that came out from the feds that they're going to decrease that down, and it could be 15. And she was going to get a clarification on it, but we'll know by October the 6th when we roll it out.
Okay, that was my next question. Is it because of a grant?
Yeah, it's because of a grant, because it was open and we competed with all of the states.
How are we going to get that word out there to people will know?
Well,
show up.
Basically, we are not going to put the word out that it's Cherokee preference. We're going to encourage our tribal members to come in and partake of the grant. We can't put that out there because of it being a federal grant, but I mean, it's a given that you're coming to a Cherokee Nation office, and most people are going to think that. But we want to make sure that if there's people out there in need that are veterans that are coming home from Iraq and places, if they've been unemployed for 27 weeks or better, that they come in and take advantage of that, because that's what we're there for. That's what we said in our grant that we would do, is comply with what their regulations were in the grant. And we're sticking to that because we want to make sure that we're in the line to get other grants that are out there that we can compete with.
How soon will you know before it's 15 days?
She told us that she'd let us know by Monday.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other questions of Ms. Kelly? Keep up the good work.
Thank you. And I want to invite everybody to the ribbon cutting open house Tuesday. And George Roach said there won't be another meeting before now, but he said remind everybody that the GED graduation is at Talking Leaves Job Corps Thursday, October the 9th at 5:00 p.m. And Stephanie said that we'll be giving $300 to all of the graduates that come in that certify, and there will be 55 graduating.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
That was, I think you're the one that legislated that for the adult ed graduation, is that right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, I never did get a chance to thank you for your Talking Leaves staff during the Cherokee holidays for assisting us in our feed there. For very, very appreciated that.
Thank you. Thank you. They're pleased to help out wherever they can.
And Speaker Jordan has something.
Yes, Diane, on the GED graduates, has that increased our graduates or at least helped us maintain our number of graduates by helping them a little bit?
We're hoping that it will, because when word gets out that they got $300 when we do the PR on this, I think there'll be more people coming in and taking advantage of it. we didn't actually publicize it because we weren't sure how many we were going to get. And with the new testing sites going up and that shutdown for that period of time, that's why the numbers are low. And Stephanie wanted me to make sure that I told you all that, because we knew that when we had to shut down for the testing sites, it was going to cause us that. But hopefully those numbers will be up this time next year.
Well, you know, you talk about life changers. With the GED, that just opens so many doors to them.
Yes, it does.
That was not open the day before. The more people that we can get to take their GED, if they've had to, for whatever reason, drop out of school or not complete their education through the 12th grade, it's just a life changer. So many applications. First thing it says is, are you a high school graduate or do you have your GED?
That's correct.
And you don't get to go to the second question if you don't have either one of those.
Well, Fox 23 gave us a good plug with our GED program. They spotlighted their mission on the television newscast that night, and Donna McNabb said she got buku's phone calls the very next day, and she said that she decided she better get over to Tulsa and get that classroom set up, and she's over there, and she said she's getting more calls on Tulsa right now than she is any place.
Are you the reentry program?
Yes.
Could you next month give us some highlights of the reentry program? And also, could you give us highlights of the day work program and how it's letting some of them re-enter the workforce after maybe they've had some criminal situations?
Sure can. Be glad to.
I have had probably a half a dozen parents call me over the last month saying how thankful they were that their child was given a second chance through your day work program, even though they had had some criminal problems, maybe even served some time, that you gave them a chance through the day work, which resulted in a permanent entry-level position for them. And how thankful they were that the tribe were working with people that had some past limitations that were keeping them from getting a job. I wish you would maybe give us some highlights.
I will.
Of those,
be glad to.
Those programs.
I would like to say something about the stint that Nacy Morton has been in over at HR. Jeff Vance and I can't say enough about Nason and his interest in working with us and trying to get those day training people that have the credentials and the qualifications and that getting their foot in the door. Peggy Guy, she's been very instrumental in helping us over there, and even the analyst Debbie Ray. We have gotten more people who have come through our day work training program this last year, jobs inside the Cherokee Nation, than in any other year. And I really and honestly feel like it's because of the leadership that's over there.
Okay, if there's nothing else, thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
I think we have Shay here to report for the Commerce Department.
Hi. I'm going to pass around the agenda for the NORA Summit. That's October 7th. I think Anna's mentioned it to you previously, but we would love to see all of you there that day. You have a copy of our report, and there's just a few things I'd like to mention that have happened since we submitted our report. Number one, we have been invited to speak at the HUD Native Americans Program Conference in Minneapolis in November. We've been asked to present information about the Cherokee Nation's asset building programs. So Anna and I will be going to that. We also are meeting with Vincent Logan, the Special Trustee for American Indians, tomorrow. He also is very interested in the Cherokee Nation's asset building programs, so we'll be meeting with him, so that's a great opportunity for the Cherokee Nation. The Cherokee National Holiday Report will be out at the end of October. If you all have any suggestions that you would like to make, that you would like to see happen at next year's holiday, please email Anna or myself or Donna Tennant. Donna is going to take over the Cherokee National Holiday after Luce Legal retires. So, and then one last thing, we were just notified by the SBA that we received an SBA Prime grant of $150,000. That grant will be used to expand the business services that we offer to the northern areas. So we have a business coach who will now be traveling to Bartlesville, Collinsville, and Claremore once a month to meet with tarot vendors there. We'll also be purchasing equipment to start offering web-based trainings to those vendors. So be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Councilor Callan Watts. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to say congratulations on the grant. I know that even with that shortage of staff, you've always been responsive. So I really appreciate that. But
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Counselor Kinger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, congratulations on that grant. I think I know why you were successful. One thing you didn't mention is you surpassed your goal for small business loans.
Yes, we did.
So I want everybody to notice that.
Yes.
It's actually over your goal.
Yes.
So that's very good.
Thank you.
And you have a colorful report again. So I think you win the prize today.
Thank you. We like to win prizes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions of Shay or comments? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to our consent items. Is there anybody here from the Tarot office?
Yes.
Willard,
Yes.
have you seen our list that we have?
Yes, I have. John asked me to sit in for him, as Diane said. He's in South Coffeyville for the job fair. He asked me to tell you that the agenda's set. It's okay. There's no changes to be made.
Okay, very good. I think the speaker has a question for you.
Yes, I am going to ask that one be pulled off, medical equipment affiliates. My understanding is that has sold, and that these are no longer the owners.
Okay.
And so I think we probably need to review and see, make sure the new owners are still able to claim Carroll certification.
We will look into that.
That's the medical equipment affiliates?
And my understanding is it's sold, so I don't believe these folks own it anymore.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I think probably they send their money in for a renewal, and we do any other checking on?
Well, they actually send in the renewal form along with their taxes for that year. So if the renewal had been, if it was due last month, they would have sent their new forms in along with their taxes for this year.
Maybe we shouldn't pull them. Maybe we should just say it's subject to review or verification of ownership. Because I don't want to hold anybody up, but then we get questions about when ownership changes, we get questions about that from their competitors.
Correct.
So I guess let me revise my request. Approval subject to verification of current ownership. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yes, for medical
You'll
equipment.
let us know in a follow-up email?
Yes, I will get this information to Mr. Overacker. I'm sure he'll put someone to looking into this, and then he'll follow up with the email to all of y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Got off easy.
Thank you.
Okay, we have our cemetery restoration. Okay, let's make a motion. We approve the tarot list with the change. We're going to check into the medical equipment.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Now let's move on to the cemetery.
There is an updated list that was handed out, and as far as I know, there's no additional changes to it.
I'll make a motion to be approved.
Second. I have a motion and a second to accept the cemetery list. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, let's move on to community assistance.
You have a new list, and there's a few changes. Under Chief Byrd, he has one for $1,000 that's going to be voided out, and he's going to add $500 for Cherry Tree and $500 for Sequoia High School band. Under Counselor Fishing Hawk, the $1,916 balance will go to Adair County Fair Board. And under Counselor Callan Watts, she's increasing the Rogers County Cherokee Association by $500 for a total of $1,500, increasing the Victory Cherokee organization by $500 for a total of $1,500, and that'll zero out all of the community assistance balance.
Motion be approved.
I have a motion and a second to approve the community assistance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay.
Was the correction made on the 1,500?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Law enforcement.
You do have a new list, and there are a few of you with balances, but those balances for the law enforcement funds do carry over, so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the law enforcement funds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, let's move on to roads.
In the original report, there was no request. However, we did have one to come in after the deadline, and I handed out that sheet. It's for, under the motor vehicle tax, for county line chip and seal for Councilor Vasquez for $49,019. She has a little over $63,000 balance in that account, so she has the funds for that. The county commissioner had asked for it to go ahead and be forwarded this month if possible due to weather. I mean, chip and seal, the warmer the weather, the better that works, so they wanted to try to go ahead and get that in the approval list. So.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Councilor Garvin. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the roads funding. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, sports teams. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just one, Jody, now, all roads funds,
They do carry over.
all of them including access?
Yes.
And both of the motor vehicle?
Motor vehicle and motor fuel, they carry over. So.
All right. Thank you.
Sports teams.
Do have a new list, and we've expended all $50,000 this year, so we may have to look at that one come carryover time. Next to, we've added in fiscal year 15 we have $50,000 in that fund, so we may look at bumping that fund up a little bit. So.
If I might, there's actually been two requests, one for us to look at ball team money and one for us to look at livestock.
Yes, I'll
So I'll
address that one.
probably bring those policies forth in the next month or so to figure out whether this is something that you all really wanting to review.
Okay, so do I hear?
I make a motion to be approved.
Thank you, Jack. Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the sports teams. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Move on to livestock.
There's three of them on there. Actually, the two of them, the amount in Adair County premium auction, that one, we've got that paperwork in, and she's going through that one now. And there's also, I believe, one for Mays County that she has in that has not been finalized. And this is another fund that we've budgeted $50,000 in fiscal year 15, and we'll definitely need to come back a little bit on this one and request a little bit more money, because as everything else, kind of like scholarships and other funds, the more people hear about it, the more kids that want to get in on the list to get their the little piece of the pie. So we'll have to come back on this one.
Just an update on that. I believe we went through and looked, and before we added these last ones in, at all levels, we'll be helping over 500 kids.
Yeah.
Councilor Keener?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve, but do we need to add a caveat to that on the paperwork, or?
Well, we'll come back with a budget mod to add additional funds here in 2 to 3 months. We've got $50,000 to work on and the coming up year right now, so we'll be fine. I think we'll probably just come back at carryover with a budget mod on those two accounts.
Okay. So I'll make that motion.
Could you maybe defer to me for just a minute?
Sure, yes.
I'm wondering if Lee did not mean we don't have Adair's numbers in, and we have a $4,700 balance, and I would think that Adair County's
It's actually going to be more than that. So
yeah, that's what I don't know what if anything we can do here. We're going to go over what we've got left in this pot.
Well, we'll end up paying that Adair County out of the next year's funds.
So we will probably, this body might want to be aware, we probably will have to look at that. That's a very, very popular problem.
Yeah. If you look,
working in every county now.
Yeah. If you look up on October 18th, Adair County, we already paid it once in this fiscal year for $5,100, so it'll be in October of.
And with Mays County coming in too,
yeah,
that really will put us on.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I need a second to Councilor Flores.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the livestock auction funding, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we don't have any, thank you, Jody. And I want to say thank you, Gail's not in here, to you and Gail for scrambling around at the last minute to get our community assistance funds out there. That money means a lot to the people that we serve, and we don't want to leave a dime of it at the end of the year that could be used for our people. And so I know we dumped it on you at the last minute, and we really appreciate you making sure that it gets to the people that need it. So thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the new business, and let's do this budget modification. Joe, would you read?
Yeah, this is an act amending Legislative Act 25-14, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2015, Mod 1, and declaring an emergency. Take that form of the motion.
I will second.
Okay, this is modification 1. Obviously, we're not into October yet, so there's no grants reporting this month. There's 2 budgets, even though it's actually for one purpose. The budget number 1 is for Oshaleta Clinic under General Fund. It's a new budget requesting expenditure authorization of $429,313. This budget includes new positions for a physician and registered nurse, along with operating expenditures. And I'd kind of made a little comment there about somebody from admin or the health department would need to explain, and I've got a little more information since this kind of came in the last minute before the mailing. My understanding is that this is kind of a temporary fix for Oshaleta until they get going and get their budgets going, and this is kind of a place to be able to hire these positions in. And I don't know if Amy wants to add any additional comments on that, but I'm sure that this will be eventually built into the regular IHS funding rather than out of the general fund, because one of the things that we normally try to avoid is funding positions out of this one-time source of funding out of the general fund. So, and the item 2 is out of the general fund operations, and that's reducing the reserve for appropriation out of that carryover by $429,313 to be able to fund the Oshaleta Clinic budget, and that will leave $10,566,762 in the reserve by appropriation. And I had received word also that related to this reserve by appropriation, that we did receive the contract support settlement funds earlier this month. So I know that was a question during the budget hearings about that, and we did receive those funds.
Are there any other questions related to this budget modification? Yes, Councilor Keener.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not really clear on that Oshaleta versus Bartlesville budget. This is requesting an expenditure.
The Bartlesville, I mean, the way my understanding of it is the Bartlesville is right now is under the IHS funding, and there's going to be some expansion with this new facility at Oshaleta, and this is basically to give some funding temporary funding for the expanded positions.
So for those two positions?
Right. There's only 2 positions in this budget.
It's kind of like, we'll have it in there
right
for them, so we can...
Right, go ahead and get the funding, the hiring process underway and stuff like that.
Okay. And then I had a couple more questions. On the Cherokee Nation Waste Management, under public relations, professional fees, on page 54, is that a typo?
You're looking in the...
Under Cherokee Nation Waste Management on page 54, under the description, in the middle of the page, professional fees, engineering, $18,359, and it has public relations, $18,359.
Is that the financial report coming from the treasurer's office? I'll have to look into that. Have them to address that. Okay.
And that's on page 54. And then let's see, I was going to ask about the Heritage Center. Well, are they waiting until next month to report? I didn't know what the health of their department was, so they didn't get to send a report.
We oftentimes do not receive that report by the time we prepare the package, sir.
We'll make sure it's in there.
It won't be because it's the fiscal year next time. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And as far as that waste management report, I know the financial reporting comes from CNB, so I'm sure the treasurer's office will have to ask them to provide some details on that. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions on this budget modification? In that case, may I have a motion? Oh, I already have one? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? No. Okay. By way of announcements, Amanda Clinton would like for everybody to RSVP if you plan to attend the ribbon cutting in Pryor this week. Just let her know how many to expect. It's this next week. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, Diane.
I just wanted to tell you, Dixie just emailed me, and I sent it to some speaker to you. They shut down at 4 o'clock, and they had over 182 come through. Yes. So they had a ribbon lesson.
Good. Wow. Yay, Coffeeville. They're excited. They're very excited.
Don't they new one?
What's that? Yes, they do.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Everybody safe, going home.
You gotta wait on me time.